Hey, and welcome back to They Love. If you are new here, my name is Destiny and I love to talk about different movies and TV shows that I love. If this is actually your second, third, or even fourth video and you are still not subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe to the channel because you know you love coming back to watch these videos and discussing movies and TV shows with me. And I'm also so excited for future videos because I am going to cover the Snyder Cut, which is coming out tomorrow. So I'm going to do a non-spoiler review and a spoiler review, so we'll have a whole spoiler discussion. And we have Falcon and Winter Soldier coming. We have Invincible. I'm even thinking of doing an Attack on Titan video when that finishes. So many videos coming up and I'm so excited for them. So go ahead and subscribe and let's just get straight into this. I really wanted to rank the DCEU movies before the Snyder Cut comes out. I originally had just thought of this as just a distraction video for me personally, because I'm just so excited for the Snyder Cut. So I've been rewatching most of these movies over the past couple of weeks. And again, I am ranking the DCEU movies, the DC Extended Universe. So just like Birds of Prey, Suicide Squad, things like that. The Dark Knight, Superman Returns, Joker, those aren't included in here. So there are 9 DCEU movies. So we'll start off with number 9, go from worst to best, count down. So number 9, I don't think this will surprise anyone, but it's Justice League, the 2017 Justice League. And I think this is a bit obvious, but you know what's so interesting? I was writing for my university newspaper when this movie came out, and I remember I titled my review, Joss Whedon's Justice League, a horrible mess. And that was before someone even coined the term Justice League. And that was actually before, like, I knew there were a lot of reshoots and things that they replaced from Snyder's Cut, Snyder's version of the original movie, but at that time I didn't even realize how much was left on the table. But even then, I still said Joss Whedon's Justice League. That's how you just know. That's how you know. This movie is just so terrible. Like, this is like the one movie I haven't met any people who can really defend it. I think the whole tone is off, the humor falls flat, all the characters are handled really horribly. Diana, I hate that Diana was powered down. Cyborg's role was cut down, even Flash's role was cut down. He would just make the comedic relief. It was visually terrible. Everything was just terrible about this movie. I can't say any positives. I can't because sometimes I'll have to wait to see a Snyder Cut, but I feel like any little glimmer of a good moment may have been a Snyder, what he filmed in the first place. So we'll see tomorrow. So, but that's number 9. Just want to get that out of the way. Number 8 is actually Suicide Squad. And then actually, I did do a video on Man of Steel because I did rewatch it, and I wanted to just highlight that movie because I really love it. And one of the things I point out in Man of Steel is that I think it does a good job of focusing both on story and character. Because sometimes with some of these DCU movies, they focus too much on story or the plot, or like, oh, let's get people together, do this, go here, do this thing, and they neglect character, or just vice versa, where they focus too much on character and there's no plot. There's just no purpose. And I feel like Suicide Squad focuses more on the story and not so much on character development. It's more focused on the plot, again, getting the Suicide Squad together. What is the villain? How are they going to take them down? Oh, they have a moment where they break up and now they come back together for the big moment because they're bad people, but they're good people. Not really, but okay. It does have good moments, and I think the casting choices are great, like Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn was fantastic, even Will Smith as Deadshot. But I just feel like this movie just falls flat. It just falls flat. Like, sometimes it is fun to watch, but it doesn't hit the mark for me. Now, number 7, I feel like it's going to be controversial for some people because I know a bunch of people who love this movie, but I just can't love it. I have too many problems with it. So number 7 is Birds of Prey. Oh God, don't come after me. I know there are a lot of people who love this movie, but I just can't love it as much as you guys. I am glad you love it though. But anywho, before I get into negative, this is where we get into more of the middle ground, where I like some things, I don't like some things. So before I get into what I don't like and why it's so low on this list, let's talk about the positive. Again, positive, I love Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn, and I loved her narration. And even though Margot Robbie isn't my favorite Harley Quinn, I feel like after I watched the animated Harley Quinn series on HBO Max, by the way, if you have not watched that, you are missing out. It is so good. It's so amazing. I'm so excited for season 3. But I think after rewatching that, because again, it's become like a good show to rewatch too. Like, cause I haven't just watched it and then just went away. I love going back and watching my favorite episodes. But after watching that show and rewatching it, it's made me dislike Birds of Prey even more, because I feel like Harley Quinn does so well the show what Birds of Prey doesn't do so well. But I'll get into that later. So Margot Robbie isn't my favorite Harley Quinn, because my favorite Harley Quinn is actually the animated Harley Quinn voiced by Kelly Kowalko. It's just, I had never believed it. But if you haven't watched it, you may not get it, but go watch it. You'll understand after a few episodes. Another positive though, I do love Journey Smollett-Bell as Black Canary. I think she did a great job. Her styling was on point, the physicality of the role, it was great. My favorite action scene was the police station raid. I love the colors of that. I love how it was like in different sequences. It wasn't just one thing. And then even the joke, this is so random, but even the joke about the egg sandwich that Harley kept on trying to have the egg sandwich and just got away from her. Maybe I just relate to that. that was actually pretty funny to me. And even though I liked Ewan McGregor, I just didn't find a point of him being Black Mass. I feel like he should have just been a random gangster or a mob boss, because he was good in the movie. I liked him, so it's kind of still a positive. But the negative is that it shouldn't have been Black Mass to me. Weinstein, Mary Elizabeth Weinstein as Huntress, she was great. It's with her, she didn't have a big role. I wish her role, like both her and Journey Smollett-Bell, I wish both their roles were much bigger. And it ultimately felt like it was Harley Quinn to me. It felt like Harley Quinn and her backup dancers, the Birds of Prey. Which leads me into my first negative. I just feel like this shouldn't have been a Birds of Prey movie. It should not have been a Birds of Prey movie. I want to emphasize this. I do respect that Robbie wanted to highlight lesser known female DC characters, but by choosing Birds of Prey to adapt, I think it does a disservice to a very well-known female character, Oracle, aka Barbara Gordon, formerly Batgirl. And I just couldn't get over it watching the movie. Every time, like watching a movie, it was just so disappointing not to see her in a team, not only that she was a part of, but she originated. And not only that, but the new leader of the team is Joker's former girlfriend. I was not okay with it. I couldn't get over it. And ultimately, I felt like both Renee Montoya and Cassandra Cain were unnecessary. Renee Montoya, her actress was great and everything. It's just like her role should have been there. And Cassandra Cain, don't even get me started on that, because I think everyone in the film, with acting wise, did the best they could. There was no one who I was like, oh, you are just trash, you did not act well in this, you weren't meant to be cast here. But I just feel like the character of Cassandra Cain should not have even been in this movie the way they interpreted her. So, but because of that, I felt they were unnecessary, and they could have been taken out to be given more time to both Black Canary and Huntress. And even though I liked the police station raid, there were only kind of a few action sequences in this movie, but the other action in the movie for me was just weak. I know a lot of people love that final funhouse scene of them fighting all the men who came after them, but to me, that whole scene felt disjointed, and while it had funny moments, I just did not think it was choreographed well at all. So that is why Birds of Prey is so low down on my list, number 7. But number 6, and this is also a hard choice. And honestly, this could have been tied with number 7, because I have a lot of problems with this movie, but it's a bit iffy. So number 6 is Wonder Woman 1984. I have so many problems with this movie, but I think it ranks a bit above Birds of Prey because I have a bit more positive than negatives, but it was surprisingly close. And I think it's ranked above because the positives are more character oriented than Birds of Prey, where it's more like moments oriented. Like, I like this moment, I like this scene, I like this thing, but it's really overall didn't come together for me. So my positives though are mainly Diana and Maxwell Lord. I continue to love Gal Gadot as Diana. I truly could not imagine anyone else playing Wonder Woman. And strangely, I don't know, over time, strangely, there's been this duality to Wonder Woman in the way she's portrayed. Some people, like myself, I am in this group. They like the fierce warrior, being portrayed with the sword and shield, and others, they really love the passionate peacemaker or the t-shirt character. And even though I prefer the warrior, and I'm really hoping I get a lot of that in Snyder Cut tomorrow, I thought Wonder Woman was a good interpretation of the peacemaker role. I think Gal Gadot does a great job on both sides of the spectrum. And I actually did like seeing the lasso used more. Even though I missed the sword and shield, I did like seeing what you could do with the lasso. And personally, whether Diana is portrayed as the warrior or the peacemaker, I will always emotionally connect with her. When Diana takes flight for the first time in this film, it truly hit me as much as seeing her step into no man's land in 2017. And another thing, I actually really love Pedro Pascal. By the way, I love Pedro Pascal in general, but I really love Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, or this Maxwell Lord. Even though Maxwell Lord in the comics has mind control powers, I like his powers here of granting wishes, but also choosing what he could take away in payment. I thought that was clever. But one thing that I thought the idea was clever, but I don't feel like they emphasized that, oh yeah, he's taking the payment and that's the way the wishes work. I feel like they didn't emphasize the way the wishes worked, at least not immediately. But with Pedro Pascal as Maxwell Lord, I thought both the writing with the character, Pascal's performance, made me sympathize with the character and his motivations in the long run. So those are my main positives, but I think the negatives are the big ones, like the writing, the tone, and the action. I think it was a major mistake not to bring back Alan Heinberg from the first Wonder Woman, because I think the writing, other than the third act of Wonder Woman, the writing was what really made that movie. I don't know why he wasn't brought back, or was he not asked, could he not do it? I don't know. I think the tone, even though at first I liked the lighter tone, I got what they were doing, I don't know, it came off a bit too corny, especially with the action. Again, kind of corny action. The action was not good overall, especially compared to what we got so many years ago. And I think Barbara could have been taken out. I don't know why they wanted to put Cheetah and Maxwell Lord both in this movie. I didn't understand the point of that. And I had a major problem with how they handled Steve's body. This was kind of spoiled for me, but I thought that I understood it. I didn't really realize the first time I watched it until like the very end of the movie. But I thought that when Steve came back, Diana would be able to see him as Steve Trevor, but everyone else would just see someone else, like just another person, because of magic. I did not realize that he would come back in another person's, like a living person's body, someone who had just been living their life. And I just thought I had a major problem with that. I just had a major problem with how that whole situation was handled. I thought it was just so weird and creepy. I don't understand how no one reading the script before this was filmed, or maybe watching it back, did not realize that was just weird. But that actually really sucked, because Steve Trevor himself in the movie was great, but that whole situation with the body and everything, I did not like it. So, number five, I put Shazam, and this is a movie that is really, again, like in the middle of the pack for me. I really like this movie, I just don't love it, but that's ultimately why it's kind of in the middle of the pack. But I don't have as many problems with Shazam as I have with like Birds of Prey and Wonder Woman 1984. But I do really like the lighter tone of Shazam, and I like that it's a lighter tone without seeming ridiculous. And I like that they keep a lighter tone, but the serious situations and the villains are still taken in a serious manner. And I really enjoyed Zachary Levi, Jack Dylan Grazer, and their dynamic. I thought it was fantastic, and I love the themes of family and chosen family, and finding who you are. Yeah, I really like this movie. It's really a pleasant movie, but that's why it's in the middle of the pack, because me personally, I just don't love it. I know there are a lot of people who love Shazam though. So number 4, we are getting more into the movies I love. By the way, I forgot to mention, but leave your rankings of all the DCEU movies in the comments down below. But number 4 is Aquaman. I love Aquaman so much, and I remember before this movie came out, I was so nervous for it, but I remember being so happy because I just ended up loving it. And I think James Wan was a great choice to direct this movie. I think Jason Momoa was a great choice for Aquaman. I thought it was, even before the movie came out, that was actually something I liked. I liked that they cast someone of Hawaiian descent. I thought that was a correct choice. I actually still wish that they had made Atlanteans of Hawaiian descent, or just, of like cultures who live on the water or something. That would have been great. But Jason Momoa is awesome. He was great as Aquaman. And I love that Aquaman has very great action, it's very energetic, very fun characters. And this really deserved to be nominated at the Oscars. I was so mad when it wasn't nominated for VFX because Atlantis is just so beautiful. I love Juan's directing. I love the production design. I love the final act. I love the spectacle of the final act, but it didn't seem like a CGI fest. I love the writing of this movie. I love how Lyra's powers are portrayed. I love Aquaman. It's just so great. I love it. Well, this probably is a controversial choice for some people, but you know what, this is my ranking. I can do what I want, but leave your rankings down below. But number 3 is Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition. This was actually one of the movies that I liked it the first time I watched it, and I loved it even more when I watched the Ultimate Edition. That's why I'm putting the Ultimate Edition, not the theatrical edition, on this list. I didn't have to go back and like rewatch this film to like appreciate more or finally understand it. No, I love this movie. And this is a movie where I do understand the criticisms of the people who don't like it, but I just don't agree. I just still love it. Again, if you have not watched the Ultimate Edition, I would urge you to watch it. I know the whole Martha thing, but you know what? The first time I watched that scene, I wasn't even outraged. I didn't even find it ridiculous because the whole time I was thinking, wow, I didn't realize their moms had the same name. How in the world did I never realize they had the same name? Like, that actually caught me off guard. I love the music in this film. By the way, rewatching the Ultimate Edition actually did make me appreciate Lex's theme. His music, Lex's theme, is so sinister. I love it. I love that the Ultimate Edition shows more of Batman being the detective that he is, Lois Lane being the investigator. Everything that is presented, it was just taken more time to be explored in the Ultimate Edition. Even like the greatness of Superman, of him, you know, the questions being asked of, oh, should he do this? Should he do that? Does he know the right thing to do? I love stuff like that. I love stuff like that. Like, these top 3 movies always have one scene that I will always remember. You know what's so funny? It's not even like the final battle scene or, you know, something where they face off. Even though one of the scenes where Superman confronts Batman when he was tracking down the kryptonite and everything, that was great. I loved the heat vision and him stopping him. That was a whole great scene. But the scene I will always remember from this movie is the courtroom scene. I love the tension of it. I love the callback to the Granny's peach tea. Oh my gosh, that scene just hit me. I think it was filmed fantastically. The first time I was watching it, I did not really know what was going to happen. I knew something was going to go down, obviously. But I was truly surprised. I love this movie. It's so fantastic. And as you can tell, I'm a Zack Snyder fan. So of course it's ranked in, you know, my top 3. Now, number 2, this was actually so hard. It was so hard. I kept going back and forth on it. I had to put Wonder Woman at number 2. I love Wonder Woman so much, and you probably have already guessed what my number 1 is, but gosh, I think it was really just that final third act that kind of docked it from being my number 1 when I was really reflecting on it. But again, I just love this movie so much, and it's just I remember seeing this movie in theaters for the first time, and it just means so much to me. I think Gal Gadot is perfect as Wonder Woman, and Diana Prince. It's not like a situation where she's like good as, you know, the alter ego or vice versa. The scene that I will always remember for this movie is the no man's land scene, and what is so fantastic about that is that I will always remember like the lead up to that no man's land scene. And I was so afraid that when she would go into no man's land, when Steve was saying like, oh, it's uncrossable, no man has ever crossed it, I was so scared she was gonna say, well, I'm no man, and like go up and then do that, because I would have cringed so hard. But I like that she did not say that, because it's such typical women shit. But I feel like that, who actually says that? It's so cringe. It's so cringe, but I feel like a different movie and a different writer and a different director would have done that. So I really love that she said, well, I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna do this because I have the ability to. I'm gonna go do that. And her stepping up into no man's land in her full costume for the first time was so great. All the action scenes in this movie are amazing. I love the music, especially in that scene, the swelling of the music, the triumphant music. And again, I love this movie because it shows Wonder Woman being the warrior that I know and love. I love the warrior. I love the warrior. I love the sword and shield. I love great action where she isn't just on the defensive but the offensive. So great. I love Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. I love all the male characters in this movie because I felt like they weren't dismissed, because sometimes when it's like a female-led movie, they kind of dismiss the male characters or they don't get any time, and it's just they're not highlighted well. But I think all the supporting male characters were handled really great. The writing from Alan Heinberg was amazing. I really wish she was kept on for the sequel. And here, both Zack and Deborah Snyder are producers, so I just love Zack Snyder. Okay, so number one, if you watched the video that I just released probably yesterday at this point, but and you have paid attention throughout this list, my number one is Man of Steel. If you watch my video Man of Steel, you already know why I love this movie, so this is really just the highlights. If you want to know my full in-depth thoughts on Man of Steel, you can go watch that video as well. But I love Zack Snyder and I love Henry Cavill's Superman. To me, Henry Cavill is Superman. I cannot imagine anyone else playing Clark Kent or Kal-El on the big screen. He just won me over with this movie. I love that this is Superman approached in a realistic manner, kind of similar to the way that Batman, in The Dark Knight was handled. With Christopher Nolan, and that makes sense because Christopher Nolan is a producer on Man of Steel. And I think that this is the most solid DCEU movie because both the story and the character prosper here. There's a purpose to every scene, whether it's story driven or character driven or vice versa. Even if it's a slow scene or not even really slow. I don't know why I mentioned in my video, but I watched this movie when it came out and I was in high school. In high school, Destiny thought that some of the early scenes were a bit slow, but going back and watching it, the pacing was so good. It was actually one of the rare times where I rewatched a movie recently and I wasn't even checking my phone, nothing. I had to ignore my phone because I'm like, I can't respond right now. This movie is great. And even those scenes I thought were slow in the past, I realized they still had minor goals to them and they still kept the pacing really well. I love the flashbacks. I love the character study of this movie. And again, even the flashback had a purpose to them, and where each one was placed, they each had a purpose. I really think that the themes of hope are explored really well in Man of Steel, with every character, not just Clark discovering who he is, but through Jonathan, through Kal-El's parents, even through Zod having the hope that Krypton can live on. Zod is a great villain. Fiora is a great villain. The music is amazing, of course, because it's Hans Zimmer. The visuals are stunning, of course, because it's Zack Snyder. It is just, I love Man of Steel. And the major scene for this movie, Man of Steel, is of course Superman's first flight. I think that's one of the most breathtaking sequences in a movie ever. I love that scene. The visuals come together, the music comes together. I think it's just so wonderful. And that I had to rank it as my number one. I just had to rank it as number one. That's why Wonder Woman got docked. But I love this movie. I love it. So let me know what you think of my top DCEU movies. Where will you rank your movies? What do you think? And where do you think the Snyder Cut is going to end up? I'm hoping that the Snyder Cut is the best of them all and we all have a bunch of fun watching it. That would be great. But yeah, just let me know. I'm so excited for the Snyder Cut tomorrow. Are you excited? Look out for my review and my spoiler review. I'll be working on that. It's going to be a busy couple weeks because then the next day is Falcon and Winter Soldier, and it's just a lot. It's a lot. But okay, so let me know what you think. Again, like this video, again, subscribe to the channel for more content that I have coming up, and comment on the video down below and let me know what you think of my rankings and what are your rankings, and I'll see you guys later.